This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, this is the week 2 discussion for color theory, and we've got quite a few people here. All right, so Daryl, you're doing Layla's Fair Trade coffee, and you've got some sketches scanned in here. Now, I'm hoping for the assignment you didn't have to scan these and put them into the template. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
All right. So just taking a look at what you got. Number 1 looks like a coffee cup.
Yeah.
Number 2, coffee bean.
Yeah.
Tell me if I got it wrong. All right. Number 3 looks like the coffee plant.
Right.
Number 4 is Africa with the northern Africa part sort of blocked off somehow.
Yeah, because that's where they say Arabica beans come from or grow. So I thought
Right.
that would be cool.
Number 5 looks like a kind of fancy coffee pot.
Yeah.
Number 6 looks like the initial sort of setup.
Yeah.
7, ship's wheel.
Yeah.
8 is sort of a word mark with script type.
Yeah.
9 looks like a ship. 10 is a sailboat. Is there something going on underneath the sailboat?
No, I'm just terrible at at drawing, so it just came out like that. No.
That's all right. All right, number 11 looks like the sun. All right, so Daryl, what you're doing here is sort of a visual exploration. You're just sort of sketching things related to the brand, but you haven't really like sort of focused on being conceptual in terms of coming up with an icon. So if you think about sort of the keywords of this brand from your creative brief, perhaps there's a persona, a character, perhaps draw what Layla looks like. Maybe Layla's a human, maybe Layla's an animal. Sort of expand your thinking and get beyond coffee cups and coffee beans, because those are very literal. Using Africa, this shows that you're reading the creative brief, I get that. Maps, in general, don't make great icons, but perhaps there's something there. I mean, if this was a coffee cup of Africa filled with coffee up to North Africa, I don't know, maybe. Um, for instance, the sailboats, like fair trade and all that, perhaps, but then what do you do to give it a twist? Take your sailboat and make it unique and special. Try to see if you can add those keywords into it. Don't do a word mark or letters, but think more about the sort of feeling of the brand and things related to that. So if you look into North African culture and the kind of patterns they use and the iconic imagery from there, this will hopefully fuel your inspiration and you'll be able to go back at it and come up with some great ideas. Does it sound helpful?
Yes, very much so.
All
Thank you.
right, great. All right. Uh, let's see. I'll do Elena next. Elena, I think I saw you up here.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
A little bit above. This one.
This one. All right. So you're doing Bermuda tea, which is a British style of tea from Bermuda. And you've got very nice, neat sketches, clear, easy to read. This is all really good. They're in the template, so this is all great. Now, when I look at these, I do see that you've read the creative brief. You sort of understand a little bit about what it's about. You've got sort of a coat of arms thing, this tea leaf plant, a formal looking sort of teapot with this crest on it, coffee cup in the sun, sort of waves and ocean waves with a tea plant. This looks like a looking down at a coffee cup with a lemon in it.
Correct.
Sunrise with tea leaves. Here's sunrise over tea leaves. Very elegant, pinky up, drinking the tea, very formal. A turtle, a tortoise, a sea turtle, which would sort of fit with Bermuda. Here's sort of the B for Bermuda, but it also looks kind of like a sailboat made of a tea leaf.
Yes.
And then a compass rose, but in a teapot. You have several good ideas here. I do like the coat of arms. I think that fits with this brand. I kind of like the teapot as well with the formal thing on there. The compass rose is interesting as well. Um, this one is maybe too many ideas in one thing.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to have the bee with the sails. I think the sailing ship is something connected to Bermuda. If you don't know the history of Bermuda, it was discovered by shipwreck.
I
They got,
saw some shipwrecks on the pictures that I checked out.
yeah. So maybe there's something to explore further there. But I definitely think number 12, number 3, and number 1 are probably your best concepts to go forward with. You do have some other ideas here if you feel really passionate about any of these other ones.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Um, I kind of like the number 8. It didn't really have a good idea behind it. I kind of wanted to explore it visually, some like lines and shapes that looked good to me.
Yes, I see that, and I agree. Perhaps if the leaves here, instead of just being leaves in front of the sun, they were leaves in the waves, like the ocean. If you bring the ocean scape into this, then it's a little more Bermuda to
Hmm.
me. So maybe the tea leaves could be, sort of the waves of the ocean represented in tea leaves.
Something we can, huh? I thought put waves instead of the leaves. So kind of put
Yeah,
leaves and
but
waves
I,
in.
I but I like the idea. If you look, like this is a pretty well rendered tea leaf right here.
Hmm.
So it kind of has a wave-like feeling to it. See?
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. You like create some waves of tea leaves, and
I see what you mean. I think
yeah, try that out. Like it'd be sort of like this, but instead of these just shapes, they'd be like tea leaves.
got it.
So you've got 4 ideas. Well,
Okay.
pick the best 3 out of those 4 and go to the next step. That's good work.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
Raymond, we're gonna do you next. Wait, Raymond, you are in. I think you're here. Here you are. All right, Chunk Soap, the blue collar soap for strong men. Uh, so you've got your icons in the template. Um, one thing, just from a presentation standpoint, when you show these, I would get rid of the gray fill in InDesign that's filling this box so that you don't have all these gray shapes
Okay,
there. You also
got you.
you don't need the number twice because you've got it here and then you've got it here. So, just sort of clean it up a little bit and it'd be great. All right, so first up,
Okay,
you've got a soap squirt bottle with a big strong arm, uh,
yeah,
a lion on soap.
yeah, like a
Uh,
lion head.
yeah. Number 3, what is this going on here?
It's like a beaver teeth inside
Oh,
the
right.
soap, like a negative space.
Okay. I get the logic there, but number 4, Muscle Man.
Yeah,
5, this is soap
it's like he's
suds
washing his hand.
with a tool and the
Yeah,
oil is dripping down. It's a cool
yeah.
sketch. All right. Uh, hand with soap.
It's like he's smashing it down on the thing, like manly type
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yeah. Okay.
I don't know if
Uh,
you see that action.
the crane lifting the soap. Soap with a hard hat.
Yeah,
Tools cutting into the soap. Uh, a wrench and gears.
I was trying to do something like what was it? The St. Petersburg logo that you showed us.
Yes.
Put the C and then the gears to make the S.
Oh,
I don't think it worked.
I gotcha. All right. Number 11 is sort of a collection of tools and with a soap.
I was
Number
thinking like a
12
pirate logo.
is sort of like the guy with the hard hat and the beard. All right, so I like the way you're thinking. I do like number 11. I think this is the concept of this logo. You have a set of tools, and chunk soap is one of them. See
Okay.
what I'm saying? It's like part of your toolkit.
Yeah. Yeah.
In that respect, I think that concept could work. Um, I like this image, but I don't know that it's working as a sort of icon. It's kind of hard to read it, to see everything.
Okay.
The muscle man feels a bit generic, but it does pop out as sort of a outstanding kind of icon shape. I think number 12 could be, I think if you spent some more time with this, you could probably get it rendered a little more distinctively so that it stands out better. One
Okay.
idea, just I'm vamping, but you know, maybe his beard is made of soap bubbles. So he's like soap
Okay,
guy.
that's a good idea. Okay.
So that would give you number 12, number 11, maybe number 4 or number 5. If you could sort of simplify this, maybe that could work. Or number 4, if you could make it a little more distinctive, separate.
Okay.
Lions are great images, but everyone uses them. I feel like they're all over the place. The beaver teeth are,
Yeah.
it's a funny idea, and maybe a beaver as a character. Maybe this guy's a beaver. But the teeth, you know,
Okay.
it's like you really had to explain that to me for me to get that. So that's like just too close up.
Yeah,
But like,
I understood that.
this is Macho Beaver guy,
Okay.
right? Justin Beaver.
Yeah.
Sorry. Uh, so I think you got some good concepts there. Some of them are a little simplistic, some are a little complicated, but overall, good job.
Thank you.
All right, Robert, right here. Here you are. So you are doing Big Red's Texas Chili. All right, so you got a personification. There's Big Red. Here's the chili bowl with the Texas flag. Number 3 is Cowboy taking a nap. 4, let's go scroll down. Path with some trees around it. Okay, so that's out in the woods. The campfire. Chili with the Texas flag. The Star of Texas with a hat. Cowboy hat. Cowboy on the path, right? Is that what number 8 is? Stop me if I get any of this wrong.
No,
Riding
you're
off into
doing
the
good.
sunset. Well, that's good. That's a testament to your drawing. All right, lucky shoehorn. I mean, horseshoe, shoehorn, horseshoe. Yes. All right, I know what that is. Number 10 is, let's see, Desert Canyon. This looks like, let's see, 11. Rattlesnake on a spoon. Ha. Scorpion. Yikes. And then you went above and beyond. 13, the state of Texas with chili steaming out of the top. Poor Oklahoma's getting it. All right. Uh, Big Reds in a cup. Chili in a hat. Hat is a bowl.
That was
And then
kind of, yeah, that one's not my favorite, but yeah. The 16 is,
16, hat on fire.
yeah.
Fancy cowboy boot with a spur. Uh, Sweating hot cactus. An old saloon. All right, you got some good ideas. You're being very creative, a little more out of the box. I'll tell you right away, the one that I really like from a concept standpoint is number 11.
Me,
The
actually,
idea,
yeah,
you like that one too?
I do. That number 12. 12 is a jalapeno pepper shaped as a scorpion.
Oh yeah, I like that too. All right, so you got
Yep.
2 solid ideas right there.
Yep.
Some of these, you know, like throwing the flag into different shapes is okay. I've sort of seen that before.
I feel, yeah, it's getting too generic for me than those, but you know.
I think the character of Big Red could be fun. I think you need to flesh him out, so to speak, more.
Yeah.
Sort of maybe focus in on head and shoulder kind of portrait type thing,
Okay.
and give him a lot of personality because he's big like the state of Texas. So that would be 3 concepts right there. Do you have any other ones that you really love that you want to do?
Actually, the ones you mentioned, I did like the Big Red Saloon. If I simplified that more, I thought that was kind of neat because,
Yeah.
but I don't know. The ones you actually mentioned were my favorites. The snake and the scorpion, the
And the
chili is supposed
character.
to be, Yeah, it's supposed to be spicy, so it's got a bite to it.
Right.
I thought that fit. And then yeah, the Big Red was the first one I thought was also, had potential.
So when you go to execute Big Red, what you want to do now, he didn't have to be a person. He could be a human or an animal, a spirit
Okay.
or something like that. But tons of personality, how does he dress? How does he, if he's wearing a cowboy hat, he's got to have a certain kind of cowboy hat. Like
Hmm.
if you think of classic Yosemite Sam, right? He's a
Yep.
cowboy, but he's
Yep.
like really distinctive. He's got that crazy mustache and his hat is all crooked and, so that kind of thing where you like really give it some character.
Right.
Um, the saloon is really interesting imagery. I would put a pin in that and save it for when you get to your package design.
Okay.
Like just the thought comes to me, maybe the packaging is the saloon. Like you
Okay.
put wood texture on it, but that's going to be week 4. So,
Okay. Yeah.
so
No,
just
that's
save that
great.
idea.
All right.
All right. I think we got everybody who's on the call. Daryl Harris Sr. I didn't see the senior before, Daryl. Sorry.
It's all right.
All right. I'm going to go back. You guys are welcome to stay on the call. I'm just going to go back through everybody else's stuff while I'm here. So you can stay or you can go and listen in. All right. So back up to the top of the list. Katya. So, another mention here. This is a screenshot from InDesign. You can export any page as a JPEG from InDesign. Go to File, Export, and you can choose and then decide which page. This has all the grid lines and all this. Even if I was going to do a screenshot, I would probably turn off all the grids and stuff before I made it. But you should be able to just make a JPEG and export that. That's the best way to do this. All right, so blood orange chocolate, which is sort of a Spanish chocolate. Number 1 is, it's got kind of spices in it. So let's see. Number 1, a fan, like a Spanish fan, with some wind around the bottom. Oh, sort of breezing around there. Okay. 2 is pouring chocolate to form a pepper. Number 3 is a tropical bird, sort of exotic. 4 is a blood orange slice with a cocoa bean in the middle. 5 is a lockbox with a hat on top, sort of a Mexican hat. Day of the Dead skull, sugar skull. 7 is brightly colored flowers showing the blood orange. Candle, let's see, number 8. Candle used in Day of the Dead celebration. Number 9, chocolate swirl. Number 10, chocolate heart melting. 11 is half pepper, half orange. Number 12 is blood orange in a flower. All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the Day of the Dead is Mexican, not necessarily Spanish, but could work. I do like number 11. I think that you could use that one. Number 12 as well. I like the bird idea, but I think you need to make it a little more distinctive for your brand. So maybe there's elements of orange in the bird, perhaps. Otherwise, maybe the fan. I think this needs to be sort of thought through a little more. So you got a few good ideas there. Keep going and see if you can refine a couple of them, get them where you like. So number 11, 12, and 3, or maybe 1. All right, next up, Margaret. So you're doing cactus cookies. So these are Southwestern cookies with jelly pepper. Number 1, cookies with cactus on it. Number 2 is cactus with hot peppers on it. Number 3, a cactus holding a pepper. I like this idea. That could work as a little character, a cactus character for Southwestern pattern, a little less conceptual. A sort of Southwestern print collar on a cactus. 6, cactus-shaped cookie. 7, cactus-shaped cookie with hot peppers. I don't really see how that's different than number 2. Number 8, a jar of cactus jelly with the pepper. Cactus, let's see, number 9, potted cactus cookie. All right, so you really kicked it with the cactus. So cactus, cactus, cactus. So see if you can break out beyond that. I do like number 3 because it's not just a cactus, it's sort of a character. Perhaps there's more of a character. There's a character as well for number 12. You can draw on more elements from the Southwest, not just patterns, but maybe other iconic images, things that have to do with that. So I'd say number 3 is good. Maybe one of these all 3 are kind of the same idea almost, 2, 6, and 7. So one of those, 3, and come up with another one that doesn't have a cactus in it and see what you come up with. More of a character perhaps. Who else lives in the desert? Maybe watch that movie Rango. Inspiration. You need to break out of the cactus mold and see where that takes you. All right, next up, Angelica. All right, Angelica, you have placed these individually, which is, I don't want you to do that. I want you to put them in your InDesign template, export that page as a JPEG so we can see them. And it's gonna be hard to sort of go through these. So YOLO cookies, these are the you only live once cookies because they're full of bad stuff for you. So why not eat one now? All right, so this looks like a half-bitten cookie with the tooth in the center, a tooth that looks like a cookie. Here's a whole cookie. Here's a bitten cookie with the 1 for only live once. Here's a glass of milk with a cookie. This kind of looks like a mouth with a cookie on the tongue. A jar. This one has cookie going into milk. The word YOLO spelled out with cookies for the O's. Dipped in chocolate. A kind of motif around the cookie. All right, so cookie, cookie, cookie. Don't be so literal. Think more about you only live once. So create a character. I think that's probably one of your best things to do would be to create some sort of character that is only living once and doing something crazy, outrageous, like eating this cookie would be. And then don't just give me cookies. This one is sort of the most conceptual, but it makes me think of going to the dentist because it's a tooth. So extreme sports, you know, sort of you got to get into the culture of you only live once and figure out what the visuals are that relate to that. The mouth is okay, but it makes me think a lot of Andy Warhol's rendering of mouth for Rolling Stones. So a bit derivative. Cookie jar is about as boring as it gets for this. This is like a crazy out there kind of product. Think about occasions where you would use this, like when would you have this cookie? It's not an after school thing, it's more of a party thing. And try to break out of this literal mode that you're in. See what else you can come up with. And next time you present, they should be in the template and presented as one page. All right, Elena, we did you. Nathan, all right, so you're doing brittle brick, which is a kind of 50s peanut brittle. You've got a peanut growing up into a house, a peanut in the house, a squirrel with nut mouth. Here's another squirrel. Number 6, a broken brick. Peanut plant, bricks, bricks, bricks with a silhouette. Number 11 is peanut brittle in the shape of a peanut, and number 12 is bricks in the shape of a peanut. All right, I like the squirrel. You could do something with a squirrel icon. Give the squirrel some personality. Think about your key words, which are 1950s retro, all that stuff. So perhaps the squirrel is 1950s retro squirrel. What would that look like? Ditch the literal peanut growing out of the ground. This sounds like botanical and not like candy. Look at stuff from the 50s. Look at stylistically things, and you got to come up with some more ideas, because just doing bricks and a wall, first of all, it doesn't say candy at all. And you've got it several times. So peanut only takes you so far. I think reminiscing about the past, thinking about your childhood when candy was made right is kind of the idea for these older folks who use this. So dive into those less literal type of things and see what comes up. Just because I'm here, I was going to show you, there's a website called Font Diner. Font, D-I-N-E-R, Font Diner, and this has a whole bunch of retro 50 stuff. This is for everybody. You can go here and they have free fonts and cool design stuff. They have designs other people have done using their fonts, so it's kind of fun to look at. Font Diner, check that out. That might give you some inspiration. Hope that helps, Nathan. All right. Casey, you're doing bluebells chocolate, which is chocolate, blueberries covered with chocolate. So I'm just going to look through these icons quickly. I really like the bee, because bees pollinate fruit plants and they're also attracted to sweet things. Maybe the bees dipped in chocolate, that could be good. I like the idea of a bear, but you got to make your bear distinctive and unique to your product. This looks like musical notes, like Bluebell with these little berries. I kind of like that idea. So I think those are 3 that you could use. I think these all have some merit, except for number 8, which is just looks like a chocolate bar. Let's see, chocolate bar with a few bites taken out. Don't do that. Some of these are a little super simplistic, the bell, for instance, but perhaps number 11, number 10, if you make the bear a little more distinctive, and number 3 kind of jumps out. All right, let's see, Laura, you're doing Big Easy cookies. These are the New Orleans cookies. So looking at these, I see a lot of word marks where you're writing out the word and cookies. What I don't see is anything really having to do with New Orleans. Maybe the nightlife with this one. Let's see, number 9, that's a cookie with a bit of old and new. Dive into New Orleans culture and imagery and see what comes up in terms of interesting imagery. Don't do a literal cookie. Again, maybe there's a character. Watch that movie, Princess and the Frog. Just even look at stills from that. Get a stylistic feel for this. And jump into something a little more distinctive New Orleans icon, and no type yet. You're going to do type after you get your icon established. Don't write out the name. That doesn't count as a logo for this. I hope that's helpful. All right, Joseph, you did, let's see, Pacific Coast Orchards. So this is sort of the West Coast, interesting imagery. So some of these are just sort of like visual explorations, an apple, a tree. They're not really logo icons. Don't put the type inside the icon, because that makes it problematic when it gets small. This one, number 8, sort of is an interesting start to something. If you have ocean and trees, A bounty of fruit with a tree. I'm not sure. Yeah, Oregon. So if you look at the Pacific Northwest and look at cultural visual icons, there's Native American stuff, totems, that kind of thing. Draw on a little more cultural research, and this will give you more distinctive looking icons. Because right now, I'm not really seeing anything that's like, say, was a clear winner. Also, put this in your template, these sketches in InDesign, and give me just a page with your icons. So hopefully that's helpful. I kind of like this idea. I feel like it needs to be kind of refined somehow with the roots turning into fruits. I'm not really sure what it means, but it's interesting. All right. All right. Janae, you did Windsor tea, which is very British tea. Right away jumps out. Number 9. Parts of number 4, I think this needs to be sort of pulled together more. Don't do a word mark. Yeah, all right. So number 4 and number 6 are kind of the same idea, but 6 is better. So number 9, number 6, perhaps this one, it needs a little more sort of cohesiveness, but it's kind of like the vine of the flower is drawing the cup. Oh, that's interesting. So this is stone. Let's see, number 11. A gemstone. That's interesting. I think it needs, yeah, all right. So now I see number 10. I like number 10. I like number 9. I like number 6. Those were my 3 favorites. But you did some good thinking here. No word marks, though. And again, if you're going to export a JPEG from your InDesign file. And by the way, when you see this pink highlight over the type, that means that the font is missing off your system. Generally, that means that the font, you may have the same name font on your computer as what's being used, but the computer, somehow it's not recognizing it. And all you have to do is go to Find Fonts and update it with the font of your choice, and you'll get rid of that pink outline. All right, Daryl, we did. Heather, Thor's coffee. So this is the coffee that is super powerful Viking caffeine. Again, put it in the template. Give me the one pager. 1 looks like the helmet. 2 is, let's see, I could read down here. All right, so the cape and the hammer. The hammer shape with a coffee bean. 4th is sketch of the cup with a hammer handle. Husky Thor arm. Thor's cape with a coffee head. Thor's name on the hammer. Thor's face outline in Ragnarok. Is that number 8? Yeah. Oak tree with that's a hammer. All right. Much as I really don't like coffee cups for coffee, I do kind of like this one, number 13, with the detailed Thor's hammer on it. Maybe that works. Thor's arm, if maybe he's holding his cup of coffee. This cape with the coffee cup is kind of mysterious. I don't really think that reads well. And don't do the name with the hammer. I've seen that a million times. Lightning bolts, maybe perhaps think about this, relate to caffeine. So perhaps there's something you could do with lightning bolts. I think if you get the hammer done once right, that's one idea. The coffee cup with the ancient hammer, the iconic hammer, is good. This one, make it distinctive. Somehow it's connected to your product. Right now it's just sort of by itself. And then, yeah, so you've got, you maybe more things are surrounding Thor, people around him, or things that he uses beside the hammer. But I think you need a couple more ideas. So number 13, number 15, the runes are okay, but you got to do something special with them other than put them on a mug. And maybe you actually have Thor as a character. You could do that too. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, Cheryl, you've got moved in, you're doing peace cookies. You didn't write a description, but so peace cookies are sort of new agey and they have inspirational messages in them. Don't write out the name. Peace sign is sort of like one idea, but it's kind of like somebody else's icon that you're using. Think broader, more metaphorically about peace cookies. Look at your keywords. Think about personas, people, animals, animal spirit, anything related to sort of new age philosophy that you could sort of come up with, you know, lotus flower, something like that. No more cookies. That's too literal, and don't write out the name. So basically you got a peace sign, cookies, and the word. Move above and beyond. See what you can come up with. All right, Naisa, you're doing Iona's treats. So these are pretzel rods. You've got pretzels that are bent around. If it's a pretzel rod, it's elegant with the pinky up. I like the hands, but instead of a pretzel, maybe 2 rods crossed. The crown, number 4, that's good. But ditch the pretzel. This twisted pretzel is not what your product's like, so it throws me off. The crown dipped in caramel, I like that. The hands and the floating mysterious icon, which will be pretzel rods, not a twisted pretzel. Let's see, what's number 9? Straight line pretzel, 10. All right, 5. So this is like the fancy serving tray. All right, if you sort of think about sophisticated and upscale and deal with it in a more direct way, so instead of just like a pinky holding up, maybe it's a person. What would that person look like? A character. Who'd say Iona? What does Iona look like? And maybe they become the icon for your product. All right, moving on to Professor Penna's class, starting off with Caitlin. Mint soap. So this is a Japanese soap that has sort of like a beauty aspect to it. I don't really see anything particularly Japanese in any of this. Okay, so this is like the writing of, maybe that's Japanese writing. All right. These icons are all very abstract, which I like that usually, but I feel like they're a little bit generic. So perhaps tying it in a little bit more. You know, like this one, number 8, it's sort of like a I Ching symbol or something, but it's mint, M for mint. All right, I get it. These are all sort of solid starting points. And I would say, I guess I'm going to tell you to pick the best 3 that you think will work. And let's see what you do with them in terms of adding type and creating something interesting. Just when I glance at these, what jumps out are number 2, number 12, Number 7, but I'm not really sure, that jumps out, but I'm not sure really. Let's see, bath time. That's interesting. 2, 7, 12. I do like number 8, but it feels a little bit generic. So interesting. You had an interesting approach to this. So, and you kept your keywords there. So good. All right, let's see. Ashley, dark wave soap. Now this is soap that is sort of gothy and a little dark for children of the night. I don't really see any of that coming through here. The crown is interesting. Don't do waves. Don't do a bar of soap. All these images sort of just feel generic. They don't really feel related to the keywords of dark wave soap. So think about that. The shell, let's see, seashell. Yeah, so I feel like what you've done is taken the name dark wave and just worked from that instead of really looking at the creative brief and the keywords and figuring out imagery that would relate to that. So for instance, if it was number 10, the Fountain of Youth, it would have a sort of gothy, maybe even steampunk look to it. Look at movies like Coraline or The Nightmare Before Christmas, something like that, to sort of get a stylistic feel for this. Because right now, it feels like you're kind of just working off the name and being a bit generic. So I hope that helps. All right, Jacqueline, Brainiac coffee. So this is coffee that makes you smarter. So you've got the chemical formula for coffee, the brain persona. This guy has his skull removed. Let's see, number 4. Cartoon coffee bean. All right. This Brainiac character is good. Do that. This is too complicated for an icon. It's interesting. You get the idea, but the electrons swirling around a coffee cup, yes, do that. This doesn't work. Coffee bean as a brain, perhaps. It's a little hard to figure out what you're looking at when you see that. Maybe more characters. Instead of a brain character, it's some other kind of character. Who else is smart? And look at Big Bang Theory. See what comes up. But you definitely got two ideas here, 5 and 3. See if you can come up with another one. All right. So, all right, Ireland, atomic cookies. So you kind of took the atomic thing. You've got electrons swirling around different objects. You've got a beaker of something, a bomb. I would look more at Area 51, of aliens, of things around that. I think that you got basically like 2 ideas. One is sort of electrons around a cookie, which is very similar to this one near. But this is that's coffee. The cookie as a bomb, I wouldn't say, this is like an old cartoon bomb with a fuse that's lit. It's more like an atomic bomb. Maybe more space related stuff, or rockets, or alien spaceship. Look up Area 51 and see what comes up. I think that'll expand your ideas, because right now I really see sort of maybe one idea. I like this one, number 4, the best. Maybe one of these beakers with the cookie. Perhaps it makes me feel like it's full of chemicals or something, but dive into that wonderful imagery from Area 51 and see kind of what comes up. Or watch the movie Paul. That's one. All right. Madison, swing set snacks. This is a tough one. You've got a swing set with a kind of candy on it. That's an okay idea. Number 1 is lollipop with confetti. So your product is not a lollipop. So when you use a literal lollipop, it sort of throws me off. Like you're using a different product as your icon for your product. This is more like popcorn and a mix of popcorn and stuff. So that's why this doesn't really work either. Number 4, popcorn creature. Yeah, that's good. Maybe popcorn creatures on the swing. Tree full of popcorn treats with a swing off it. Yeah, I like that. So I do like number 6, number 4, and maybe 13. You're gonna have to work that out. I wouldn't do the type inside the icon. That's kind of difficult to work with. This is a tough one. But you definitely have 2 ideas there, 6 and 4. Maybe something with a swing set, but don't make it a candy because this is a popcorn mix stuff. Like think of something more like that. All right, next up, my section 2. Let's see, Renee, you've got Kuko's chips, which is the plantain chips with lime. A Caribbean scene, a plantain plant with a hammock next to it, a tree with an island drink, sunset. 5 is hammock, drink, sun. Here's a little vignette of, it looks like a chip. Number 6 is, yeah, just a scene with an oval. So you did a lot of scenes of Caribbean scenes, which is fine. That could be one idea. Think about this. Who's Kuko? What does Kuko look like? Is Kuko a human or an animal? What's Kuko doing? Where does Kuko go on vacation? Look at movies like Moana. Lime and, here it looks like the sun like it has a face. I kind of like that. That could be something. Hammock, an empty hammock is not very satisfying. So put somebody in the hammock, close in on it. If you're really trying to create the vacation. So if you picture somebody up north, it's cold winter, they go into the 7-Eleven and they get a thing of Kuko's chips and suddenly they're transported where? To this beautiful island scene. So sort of focus in on that sort of transformational part of it. Let's see, number 12. Plantain leaves in the sun. It's plantain plus lime, so maybe if you combine that with a lime somehow, that would be more related to your product. All right, next up, Raymond, we did you. Robert, we did you. And that's it. All right, I hope I got everybody. I'll be on tomorrow to look at any revisions or new stuff that anyone has. I hope I was being helpful. See you tomorrow.
So what tomorrow?